Hi, so in this short video, I'll be sharing my thoughts on Inn 3 and just Nocturnal Nightmare as a whole. I haven't done a video with a script on hand for a while. At first, I was just gonna hit record and then ramble into the mic for about 3 minutes, but then I decided it's best if I just write down all my thoughts and organize them. Before I continue, I just want to make it clear that Nocturnal Nightmare 3 is not in development at all. Like, no progress has been made on it. So, Nocturnal Nightmare has had many different inspirations throughout its lifespan, such as every single Radiance fan game at the time. So not, what was that one game called? The one about Fredbear. I don't remember. I'll put it on screen. And then like the Fnaf Max Mode community. But one of the most prominent inspirations is the Batman Arkham trilogy. This is kind of a curveball and may not make any sense, but trust me, it makes sense if you look at it in a different light. When I played the first Arkham game, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a pretty cool game, but when I got to the second game, I was blown away by how much everything had been improved. Virtually everything in the game had been touched upon, and it made the first game feel like a tech demo. I want Nocturnal Nightmare to have this same feeling in some way or another. Of course, I don't think I'll ever reach the same level as what Rocksteady did for the second Batman Arkham game, but it doesn't hurt to try. I never wanted to rush out Nocturnal Nightmare 3 as soon as I finished Nocturnal Nightmare 2, and I'm glad I didn't. If I made Nocturnal Nightmare 3 as early as I possibly could, I don't think it would have been very good. I want to improve my skill at game development before I start developing the third game. Not only do I want to expand my skill set, but I'm probably going to get people to help me on making the game when the time comes. Sometime after I finished and released the two main games, I thought about completely rebooting the series. The biggest reason behind this is because of lore developments I made after the first two games came out. The lore developments in question was Father's whole backstory, as well as a completely new character that's super important to the story. I haven't fully shown either of these new lore developments, but if I had thought of these beforehand, the two main in games would be very different. Another reason I've thought about rebooting the series is because of Nocturnal Nightmare 2's visuals / art style. If it wasn't obvious enough, in Nocturnal Nightmare 2, I completely abandoned the Roblox art style. I did this because I was criticized for using Roblox character models in the first Nocturnal Nightmare game. I was also able to make slightly more complex character designs since I was making custom models. However, ever since Forsaken came out, it generated a lot of interest in the retro art style, and because of this, I think I want to revisit the Roblox art style for future Inn games, and having Inn 2 stay in its weird art style would be weird considering Inn 3 will probably go back to the same art style that Inn 1 had. I've struggled on what the gameplay should be for the next Inn game. Sometime after I released Nocturnal Nightmare 1 Recode, I grew a small distaste towards Fnaf gameplay. Looking back at Nocturnal Nightmare 1 Recode, I'm a bit disappointed in how the gameplay turned out. Also, for the sake of my sanity, I'm just going to refer to Nocturnal Nightmare 1 Recode as Inn1R for the remainder of the video. I see a lot of complaints that the main campaign is really hard and or boring, and they're totally right because the game itself was balanced around having really hard max modes. I believe One Phobia, which is the hardest max mode of Inn1R, places at number 14 on the official max mode list, which is really high. Even if the main nights were generally easier, they do not seem that fun to me. Starting at the first night of the game, 3 out of the 5 characters are already active, and by night 3 all the characters are active, which means that nights 3 through 5 are generally the same, the only difference being is that they get progressively harder. On the other hand, there's another FNAF game where the main nights play out almost exactly like this. The game in question is Five Nights at Freddy's 1. On night 1, Bonnie and Chica are active, night 2, Foxy becomes active, and on night 3, Freddy becomes active, blah blah blah, you get the point, you've played the game before. It's almost exactly like Inn1R. However, what sets these two games apart is how the gameplay is executed. More specifically, it comes down to how the character's AI is executed. Without going into much detail, FNAF 1's AI can be summarized as movement opportunities. Every X amount of seconds, a random number between 1 and 20 will be generated, and if that randomly generated number is higher or equal to the animatronic's AI level, the animatronic moves. This really cool video goes into a lot more detail, link in the description, you should go watch it. Anyways, this simple factor makes FNAF 1's gameplay surprisingly more engaging than I thought. Recently I replayed through FNAF 1 and I found myself engaged with the game. Even after knowing almost every little thing about these games and watching countless technical deep dives, I still somehow wasn't bored with the game, all thanks to the randomized movement. Now with Inn1R, I have never actually played through the game myself, so just take my word with a grain of salt. Inn1R's AI is not like FNAF 1's. The AI for Inn1R can be summarized as randomized timers. A random number between, let's say, 25 to 35 will be selected, and then that number will be subtracted by the character's AI level, and that's how many seconds it will take for the character to move. This method itself isn't necessarily bad, but I feel that this type of gameplay isn't appropriate for campaign nights. Randomized timers end up creating what's known as cycle-based gameplay, where the same set of events happen in the same order over and over again until the night ends. I can see why people would not enjoy this, especially in a game where the main story has Fnaf-styled gameplay. Gameplay is the most important aspect of my games, so I always try to spend as much time refining it. I simply do not have enough time to focus on making another Nocturnal Nightmare game. Currently, I'm dealing with college and another Roblox game project. If you want to know what this other project is, it's basically Roblox ASIM like Forsaken and Pillar Chase and games like that. And as of writing this script, I'm really the only scripter that's really doing anything, and I don't really want to take any time away from the project. I actually like really enjoy working on this project, so yeah. So those were my thoughts. I just want to preference that I didn't write anything for the outro. I kind of just forgot, and like, I don't know. I'm just still recording, so like I don't think it's necessary. But anyways, so yeah, those were my thoughts on just, you know, Nocturnal Nightmare 3 as a whole, like what's happening with the series, how I feel about it, why Nocturnal Nightmare 3 doesn't exist yet, blah blah blah. I might do more videos like this. I might, like, I don't know. I was about to go off topic, but no, I'm not gonna do that. But yeah. Thanks for watching, I guess. Bye.